Speaking of injuries, a lot of people on Mets Twitter, also my brother was saying this, and our fellow Mets fan at this network, Josh, said it on our FM show last week that he thought Max Scherzer was pitching hurt in Game 1. Did you see any kind of signs of that? My biggest thing was he wasn't really sequencing well, using his slider too much, and the back-to-back fastballs in the same spot to Josh Bell on that home run. Do you think it's like a fatigue injury type factor, or is it something else you think with Max Scherzer why he struggled?
I mean, I don't really know. I mean, my thought was when he went back on the injured list in like end of August, early September, I was thinking, okay, like that's not the worst thing in the world. Give him a little bit of rest before the playoffs, because when he was with the Dodgers, he ran out of gas. So I was thinking it was going to be a good thing. I mean, it just seemed like it was more of an execution thing. It didn't look like he was favoring anything, although I'm not, a pitching expert. He said he was a full go. I mean, people on the broadcast were talking about how like, oh, he's probably, thinking about it a little bit. And it's like, but look, like Max is a gamer. And like, again, like being an elite pitcher, especially in the playoffs, it's hard. And sometimes they come up short. They're not perfect. So, and sometimes the game plan falls short. And Max has always been, and Jake is the same way too, where like, even when they're going well, they're prone to giving up homers. And sometimes it just comes in bunches, you would hope that it would be, just a bunch of solo home runs like the last couple of times that Jake went out on the mound, but it wasn't this time for Max. And there were a couple of times when the offense could have gotten him back into the ball game or just gotten the crowd back in the ball game within those first 2 innings of Game 1. They just stranded a bunch of runners on base, and then it just completely got out of hand. So Max didn't pitch well. The offense didn't help him either in the early innings to just get that momentum back either.
We are talking to creator of MLB Daily Dingers and Elite Sports New York writer and editor Matt Musico. A lot of Met fans sit here today, and they're twiddling their thumbs, and they're watching the Braves and Phillies play.
With Zach Wheeler pitching.
With Zach Wheeler, who should have been a Met, obviously. But Steve Cohen right now, being the richest owner in baseball, he likes to wave his money in the air because he can. Why a lot of these owners did not want him to take over for the Mets. This is a man that wants to win, and he's willing to open up his pockets to do so. When you look at this team, so many players are going to be off the books. Do you see them making a run after a guy like the superstar over there with the Angels, a guy that has been the face of baseball? He is making $400 million. Do you think Mr. Butterball over there could be a New York Met in the offseason?
Butterball. That is slander that is not welcome here.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I mean, that's certainly interesting. But then, at the same time, too, it's, Trout is over 30. He's been hampered by injuries the last couple of years. I mean, he was able to overcome it this year and still hit 40 homers, which is wonderful. But, I mean, the Angels are still in such... I can't even think of the right word for that organization right now. But I mean, are they still investigating being like selling? Or, like, is Moreno still wanting to sell? Yeah. I mean, that would be interesting. I think what Epler probably wants more is Ohtani because he has that relationship with him too. But I mean, that's a situation where
you're going to have to give up a lot more. You're going to have to give up a lot more.
Giving up a lot more, obviously. But then also Moreno hates Cohen. So like he'd never actually, approve shipping Ohtani over to New York, even though he has a relationship with Epler. So I don't necessarily see Trout getting traded to the Mets. I mean, I think that it would be certainly an interesting rumor to pop up in the rumor mill if it does. But Trout's got to get out of there before he becomes, too old to be the elite player that he is. He needs a fresh start somewhere else. It's clearly not working in Los Angeles, as everyone knows.
Well, I do believe that, and I've said this to Josh, and Josh is talking in the feed right now, but I've said this. If the Yankees lose Aaron Judge to San Francisco, which quite possibly could happen, because San Francisco is one of those teams, and I've been saying this for 2 years. Ask Speedy. I said that if Aaron Judge becomes a free agent, he's from that San Francisco Bay Area, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to San Francisco and plays for his hometown team because that's where his family lives. If the Yankees lose him, I mean, I've heard Ohtani, I've heard Mike Trout. Do the Yankees make a move like that? That's something. The Yankee fans are going to be pissed They lose Aaron Judge in the offseason. This is a guy that was what, 5 points away from winning a Triple Crown. I mean, this guy had one of the greatest seasons we've ever seen a player have offensively, even defensively, and decide, hey, you know what? Well, we'll part ways with him. We can win without him. I don't think the Yankee fans are going to be very happy about that. Do you think?
Oh no, I don't think so either.
Do you? Do you think that could happen? I mean, I know you're a Mets guy, but I mean, throwing you a curveball here. I mean, Yankee fans are already, bitching and moaning right now about the Yankees because they're not getting enough offense in the game one, and they won 4-1. I mean, go all over social media. Oh my God, we were lucky. We were lucky. Garrett Cole stinks. He stinks. He pitched 7 innings with 1 earned run and 8 strikeouts. Oh, I take that game any day from Garrett Cole, from the home runs he's given up against all the crappy teams that he's lost against this year. So, do you think that could happen? I mean, seriously.
I mean, if Judge actually walks, which I think the chances of that now are pretty low, because I mean, at the end of the day, they're the Yankees. If they want to pay for someone, they'll pay for it. But they're going to have to if they let him go, because I mean, it would be a full-blown mutiny in the Bronx if they let him walk. Because I mean, Aaron Judge embodies everything that is being a New York Yankee. I mean, obviously the top-tier production, but being a team guy, being a leader, he literally put this team on his back for the majority of this year. He was the offense for most of the second half. So I mean, just the thought of them actually being like, yeah, you know what, it's a little too much for us. It's a little bit out of our price range or what we think you're worth. And they were still trying to Raymond Levine was trying to float those kind of storylines, even as recently as August and stuff like that. But all of a sudden those things started to, go away as he got closer and closer to 60 and 61. So, I mean, I feel like Jeff Passan said maybe a week or two ago that he had some sources within the Yankees organization that, they said, the Judge turned down their extension offer. All right, let's see if you can outplay it. He did. All right, we're going to pay him what he wants. But, we'll see. Who knows what Judge wants? Of course, he's wearing all those sweatshirts saying New York or nowhere. So, I mean, you feel like he wants to be in New York.
Well, that doesn't mean it doesn't mean the Yankees. New York or nowhere doesn't mean, hey, it's the Yankees.
I've thought of that too. I have also thought of that.
It could be the Mets. I mean,
he could be just waiting for a big contract to buy stock in another team.
If he really wants to say, you know what, F you to the Yankees, you know what I'll do? I'll go over there on the other side of the Hudson. I'll go play with the Mets. I'll go win with the Mets and tell them to go kiss my ass. And I know Steve Cohen will open up his pockets and pay me.
You would think that Cashman has learned his lesson from the Derek Jeter free agency saga, and that stuff got recounted during the Captain docuseries and stuff. And it's this guy is like a pillar within Yankees history already. And especially just with his power, it's there's only a handful of dudes who have hit 50 plus homers in 2 years as a Yankee. And everyone else has played 50 years ago, at least. This kind of talent doesn't come around very often. And he is the legit leader of that club. So, I mean, they can't let him go. That would be even just thinking about the Mets letting David Wright walk, even though it was a much different situation. It was not coming off a career year and things like that. But just David Wright, Mets, Aaron Judge, Yankees, they got to do everything that they can, and they may have to overpay because it seems like the Giants are motivated to do whatever they want to do.
I'm hearing the Giants are willing to offer him 8 to 9 years. And I know the Yankees aren't going to give him that, but if the Yankees could give him, they can, give him 45, 48 million a year for the next 6 years. I think they can close the deal, and Aaron might say, you know what, I'll take the 6 years with the Yankees. I'm getting 48 million a year, and I'll go back to the Yankees then, taking the 8 or 9 years and going and playing in San Francisco, where they probably aren't going to win. So they're a good team. And I think they'll be playoff bound if they have Aaron Judge. I just don't know if their farm system is not in the top 10 anymore. So I think they're ranked, if I'm not mistaken, 18th or 19th. It's not a good farm system anymore. They don't really have those top pitchers that we remember, the Lincolnson or somebody like that, or the Kane. They don't have those guys anymore. So
the 34-year-old rebirth of Jake Peavy.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have that anymore. So it's kind of okay, we'll take Aaron Judge, we'll rebuild around him. That doesn't give you any thought in your mind, Aaron Judge right now has a chance to win every year with the Yankees. And the Yankees will make sure that they're going to be competitive. And that's why Rizzo wanted to be there. That's why Rizzo decided, hey, I don't want to be anywhere but the Yankees. And I've heard stories that he wanted to go play for the Marlins because that's closer to his hometown. Why would you want to go and play for the Marlins? Derek Jeter didn't want to stay there with the Marlins. I mean, seriously. He bought the team. Oh, then he doesn't own the team. Then Michael Jordan has a piece of the team. Now he doesn't own a piece of the team. I don't know what's going on with that organization. Now Don Mattingly doesn't want to be there. So, and he already said that he's not even retiring. So who knows? Maybe he's waiting for Aaron Boone to get fired. I don't think that's happening.
Maybe he'll go manage the White Sox.
Who knows? But I mean, there's so much craziness, and that just shows you how baseball can transition every single year. And that's why I think the Mets have been very impressive this year. And for any Met fan to sit back and say, this wasn't a great year, that they have to completely rebuild. I listened to the Beeve, and you don't know the Beeve, but
you don't want to know.
I'm going to make fun of the Beeve right now because I love him. He's one of my friends, but he's a Met fan that went to Derek Jeter night wearing a Derek Jeter shirt at Yankee Stadium, rooting for a Yankee captain. What are you, nuts? I mean, I wouldn't do that. I don't hate the Mets. I'll go to Met games. You will never see me wear a Mets jersey, a Mets hat, saying, let's go Mets. I'm not going to do that.
The other irony is, Matt, of this is he's a Mets fan and Errol's a Yankees fan. And he probably likes Derek Jeter more than Errol.
I have met Derek Jeter 3 times. I think Derek Jeter is an ass, okay? I never liked him. I haven't even checked out his captain series. I will check it out when I feel up to checking it out. I don't want to give him any opportunity to think, hey, Errol, you watched my captaincy. I don't think he cares about me or he even knows who I am. But honestly, I'm not a big fan of his, never was. I was more of an Alex Rodriguez guy. I know a lot of people hate Alex, but when I met Alex, I thought Alex was pretty down to earth and cool. You know, I think he answered my questions. We talked a little sports. We talked college football. We talked football. He was really cool. Derek Jeter is like, who are you? Who do you work for? What does it matter who I work for? I could be working for your mother. I could be working for your mother's Yankee trader. If I'm asking you a question, just answer the damn question. Who cares? I mean, seriously, because you're not getting paid for it, you won't answer the question. I mean, seriously, it's stupidity. That's why I don't like the guy. And I've heard stories about him. You know, just personally, I'm just not a fan of his. But is he one of the greatest shortstops he's the greatest Yankee shortstop to ever play the game. Is he the greatest shortstop, top 5 of all time? I think people are nuts saying that he is. He's not. Okay? He wasn't even the greatest shortstop on his team. Alex Rodriguez was. So stop Yankee fans telling me, you don't know what you're talking about. Let's go look at Alex Rodriguez Gold Gloves when he was a shortstop for the Texas Rangers and the Seattle Mariners. And how many times did Derek Jeter win when Alex Rodriguez was playing shortstop? Here's the answer. 0. And when Alex Rodriguez moved to third base, then Derek Jeter started winning the Gold Gloves. So please, I don't want to sit here and cry a river about Derek Jeter. Stop it, Yankee fans. I know you love him. Fine. Is he the greatest? You can kiss his ass. I'm not. There you go. We are talking to creator of MLB Daily Dinkers and Elite Sports New York writer and editor Matt Musico, friend of the show. We're a fan of his writing and his stories and everything that he does for Mets baseball. Yes, and I listen. I want the Mets to win. I would love to see another Subway Series. I really would. Who wouldn't want to see that again? I know Met fans don't want to see it because they're afraid that the Yankees are going to do what they did in 2000, 2001 to them. I think if the Mets played the Yankees this year, I think it would have been a very good series. I think the Mets have the pitching. I think the Yankees have the lineup. It could go either way, this rotation. Walker will probably be gone. Bassett could be gone. Jacob deGrom could very much be gone. Could bring back Carrasco. If they lose all those guys, there are a few really good pitchers that are going to be available in free agency. If you were the Mets and you were the GM of the New York Mets, where do you go in free agency for pitching?
Probably the first place I go is probably Carlos Rodon, which you mentioned at the time when I first hopped on here, because I think he's taken a big leap forward, and I think he ended the year on the injured list, but he's been mostly healthy the last couple of years. And I think one of the things the Mets have lacked in the rotation is a lefty. They've had Peterson, I mean, this year more than last year, but still, like, they haven't had – that was one of the few reasons why I liked Steven Matz, because he was the only lefty in that rotation full of all the aces that never were aces except for one. It gives them a different look, comes with a different approach, things like that. I think he would be probably top of my list. I think he'd probably be the first one that I would want. And he was someone that that Mets fans really wanted last year too. When he went off the board to the Giants, people were pretty pissed about it.